Hello, everyone. Welcome to my studio for another Mystery Thursday. Sorry, to say Mystery Monday. um, and today it's a cute card, not as simple as I have been doing in the last few mystery stamps, but it is still a fairly simple card. And then I think it has potential to have a lot of wow factor. And I like simple cards that you can wow people with. And so for today, I'm using one of our online exclusive type product line. And it's the Irresistible Blooms. I'm using the stamp set for the wording. But then I'm also using the DSP that goes along with that. And the DSP is the Hello Irresistible 6x6 DSP. And so I have decided this would make a really cute card. And just wanted to incorporate that into the mystery stamp for today. And so I've had that paper for a while and I've used it on a few things, but I've kind of, when we get new stuff, I kind of forget that I have some of this other, stuff that I actually really like, and it's gorgeous paper. And so I wanted to pull that out and work with it because we've been doing a lot of the retiring stuff leading up to the new catalog launch. I've been trying to also do some of the new catalog stuff. So I decided, how about some of the older online exclusive stuff? So a lot of us may not even know that there's a online exclusive on the website because we look at the catalog. You have to look for it. So you just go into the web page, and if you choose mine, that's great. If you got your own, that's awesome. But you go to shop, and then they have different categories where you could shop paper or inks or the online exclusive, and that's where you'd find it. And so we have the Irresistible Blooms, where I'm going to use the sentiment right here. I couldn't be happier to have you as my friend. I really like that one. It's a little odd though that it is, you know, in lowercase, but they all are. So there must have been a reason that they wanted it that way. But I'm going to go with it. Didn't bother me that, too much that it's in lowercase. But so we're going to use this sentiment. I thought means it goes with the stamp set. It'd be great for the card. So I have that. So I have it here. And then the colors that are in the paper, I didn't share that. They are Daffodil Delight, Fleur de Flamingo, Lost Lagoon, Petal Pink, Pretty Peacock, Soft Seafoam. So I just use that as my color choice. And so I've got a Pretty Peacock ink pad right here. So I'm going to set those right here at the top, and we will get started with our clues. So what's fun about Mystery Stamp is I will give the clues. When you register, you will get a link to where you click on it, and then it takes you to my Google Docs, and you can then download the clues from there. Then I also will add it to my Facebook group, and then you could always access them there. But so here are the clues. This is what you would get. I always try and test it, and I printed this directly from doing the steps of what everybody else would do. And so I've been trying to streamline it instead of me emailing out the clues to you. And then once you've registered, I will email the link for you to join the Zoom call for it. So let's get started here. So for the mystery stamp, the card base is 11 inch by 4 1/4, and it's scored at 5.5. So here is my card base. I have Fleur de Flamingo. It might look a little bit orange, more orange on my screen, but it's Fleur de Flamingo. And then for our basic vanilla, or not, our basic white, you can have basic white or the very vanilla, but I'm using basic white. I have a 1 inch by 3.5 inch, and that's going to be for our sentiment. And then for the inside piece, I've been doing the 3.5 by 5. That way I get 5 out of my piece of cardstock instead of only 4. You can do, whatever size you want. If you want the 4.25 by or 4 by 5.25, by all means you can do that. But I do this size so that I get an extra one out of my cardstock. So there's that. And then I have another piece here that's 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then we move on to the designer series paper. We have 3 pieces that are 1.5 by 3.5. And so I used a piece and I did it in landscape so that whenever I finished out for the product, it would be in portrait. So how I did that was I cut a piece, let's see, like this, I believe, maybe. Trying to figure out how it is that there. All right, so I have a piece like this. I actually started out in landscape, and then that way each one of my pieces is in portrait. That's what I wanted. And so this is the 3, and I wanted them to be a continuous pattern. You don't have to do that, but for mine I wanted that. And so that's the reason why I started out in a piece that was landscape, and so that each piece would then be in portrait. But I did put on here that it would be 1.5 by 3.5 in portrait. So each one of these are portrait. And then I have a piece here that is 5 1/4 by 4, and it's just one of the other pieces in that paper pack. And then when I did that piece, I had this piece left over. I did not put it on here, but I'm just, giving you an additional thing here. This is a piece of scrap. I'm going to cut it down to go on my inside piece. And so that's just an extra one that I'm throwing in. And then images. So you don't have to do an image. You could, I'll show you, you could just leave it blank. But I have some images here out of that same DSP. And so I'm going to add that to the front of my card to just like step it up a little bit. So that's over there. So I'm going to move this out of the way and we will get started on our card. So I'm going to take my card base, line it up the best that I can. Score on my score line and then set that out of the way. So I'm going to start with the 1 inch by 3.5 inch piece here. And that's going to be my sentiment. I want it to be able to dry. So I'm going to go ahead. Mine, I'm going to try to center my sentiment on the front of this. I am going to put an image over here to the side, but then that way I have room for it to overlap, but I don't want my sentiment going clear to the right. But you can put yours clear to the right if you want. But I have a fairly large sentiment here in length. And then I'm going to fairly center it if I can. And see, I left space here, but I also left some space there. And that is my inking. So I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't get that on me. And I'm going to set this up here so it can dry. So now then we're going to bring in the larger piece of the DSP and work off of that. And so I had these lined out like this. So I'm trying to kind of dry fit them on my first piece of DSP. And it's going to be roughly a 1/4 inch around. And if you want to put a piece of grid paper under so that you can get it as straight as you can, that's fine too. I also have some Post-it tape here. What I could do is just try to get it straight like that, and I would know then where to put the bottom to it. And so as long as I can like kind of dry fit it, that looks fairly good in my spacing. Your center spacing can be smaller than your outside edges. And so I'm going to grab my glue, just add to my corners. I didn't have my lid on that well. Okay. Lift that up. I'm going to do my first piece. So I'm putting that one down. Then I'm going to go down and do my last piece. And I'll tell you the reason why I'm doing that. When you do 3 in a row, it is hard to get equal spacing by doing the first one, the second one, the third one. If you do the first and last ones, like I'm doing here, like that, then you can take this middle piece and you can then split the difference between the two and get more equal borders on either side of this one. And it is not as noticeable as if this one might be bigger than that one. It's not as noticeable that. But if this one is like too close to this one over here and farther away from that one, then you notice that more. So, looks pretty good. So I'm going to press them all down. Lift this out of the way. And it looks pretty equal spacing there. And it looks like a pretty, regular border around the outside. I'm just going to hold that down. Then I want to add glue to the back of it. And bring in this piece of white cardstock, the larger one of the two. I'm going to center that directly on there. Like that. And just hold it for a moment so it can adhere. Because using liquid glue, you get a little bit of wiggle room, and sometimes it wiggles when you don't want it to. I've been known to do that. All right, so now we're going to work on this inside piece. I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal for this. But you can either use your glue or Stampin' Seal. But I'm going to start at the edge, leaving a little bit, like an 1/8 inch from the bottom. And I'm going to try to go as straight across as I can. And that gives me a little bit of room because this tape is narrower than this, so I can scoot it up, I can scoot it down. That gives me a little bit of room as to where I want to put my piece. And so I'm going to just go completely across and leave myself an equal border down here at the bottom and press. And once I have that, I'm going to turn it over and just trim those ends off. I'm right-handed, so I just turn it so that it's always on the right. Okay. And then I'm going, this is a partial, so this is the edge of the DSP, and you get these partial pieces of flowers. So I'm going to show you what you can do with those. So I'm going to just fussy cut this out. And it doesn't have to be really fancy or anything like that. So here's the flower that I have. And I'm going to just bring it up there at the top. Just add a little bit of glue. And I did not go real close to the edges. You can see that. So I start down here and I slide it down and then slide it back up into place so that I can add glue to that edge without the glue coming out the edge. Like that. And now I'll add this to the inside. I like coming from the corners so I get my corners nice and laid down. And then I do equal distance from side to side, and then the top and bottom I try to do it equal to itself, because this is a little bit different shape than the card base, so that I get extra. I don't know if there's sticky there or not, so I'll just run the thing over it. Couldn't tell if it's on my finger or on the thing. So that's our inside. And we're going to go to the front. So we're going to add glue to the back of this. And then we want to try to get equal borders here again. And then we're going to add dimensionals. To the back of our greeting. I'm not going to waste any of my little dimensionals. Peel these off. Then I want to take and add my greeting. You can add it anywhere you want. You can do it right in the middle. You could add it, clear to the side. Put it wherever you want. You can have it going up at an angle, down at an angle. I'm going to do mine off here to the side. and try my best to have it straight. Then this little flower, a little image, I'm going to fussy cut this out. So this goes together really quickly. I mean, there are a few pieces to it, but I think anybody would be happy to get this cute little card in the mail. Happy Mail makes people feel loved. All right, so then I will decide like how I want to set my flower. So I know I'm going to put a dimensional right there. I'm going to put this little bit larger one right here by my sentiment. And then I'm going to add glue right here on this corner because I know I'm going to cover that corner up. Take the backing off my dimensional. And then tuck my flower up around the words like that. Now then, you can always add extra embellishments. You can stop there. Instead of putting the flower here, you could put a bow on the end of that. That's the reason why we go with the middle. And then I'm going to add Wink of Stella all over the front of, whoops, way too much Wink of Stella. I'm going to move that all around. Then I'm going to take my tissue and soak it up. And then try to move it. Hopefully that will dry a little lighter than that, because it really is dark. But it is shimmery, I will give it that. It soaked through the paper, so I'm hoping that when it dries, it will, it'll look better. I'll show you the one that I made, because that just did not turn out great. Then I'm going to bring in these little, they're the new 24-26 in color resin dots. Bring that in. And grab my little spatula. So mistakes happen to those of us who've been crafting for a while. And we just go with it. If it ends up not drying well, I don't think this is going to stick to it because it's too wet. Then I can cut another one and just replace it. But we try to salvage what we have. Move some of this stuff out of the way. Try to keep it a little bit tidier. So here's the one we just made. And then here's the one that I made ahead of time. So this is what we're supposed to look like. So you can see way too much Wink of Stella on there. And there you can have too much. I used to not think so, but then whenever it soaks through your paper, that's a little bit too much. And I forgot I had squeezed it before to put it in my spritzer bottle. But this is the one that I'd made before. And so it still shimmers. But there we go. So that is our mystery stamping card. And you could use any type of DSP for this. You could do the retired Gone Fishing DSP for masculine. You could do our new DSP It's the floral one. It's got pink and purple and like oh the coral. Can't even think of the name of it. Oh, good gracious. Clumps of Coral, I think, is the name of the color. It's got several different ones in it, but you could do it with florals. You could do it with any kind of design, and so, and if you could do it with just patterns too. If I wanted to do with the check patterns and different things like that, and this pattern here, and those, it doesn't matter which direction they are, because this was floral, I wanted it to be portrait. You could do patterns, you can do it as a continuous pattern, so that the possibilities are endless with this type of a card design. So I hope you will give this a try and make mini cards using this design and send them out to all of your family and friends. So happy stamping, and thank you for joining me. Have a great day. See ya.